Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so let's then continue. Sorry for that. Sometimes Blackboard collaborates when there's a lot of people on at the same time. It sometimes glitches a bit, so you just have to pop out and pop back in, and then it works. Okay, so let's continue then. So we said, okay, we purchased inventory on the 11th for 36,000. And then we said, okay, fine. So when we buy inventory, if we're using the perpetual inventory system, we take it to the asset account. So for that reason, we are taking it to the trading inventory account. But now you have to remember that that amount that goes to trading inventory needs to be excluding VAT, okay? Because we are claiming the VAT back. Let's just put here, this is excluding VAT. So for that reason, I multiply it with 100 because I want to work out what is the cost amount exclusive of VAT, and then divide it by the 115, which is the amount inclusive of VAT, to get to the excluding of VAT amount. And then the difference would go to input VAT because I'm claiming that input VAT back from SARS, and that you work out 15 over 115 to work it out. Now, if it was the periodic system, this column here would have changed to purchases instead of trading inventory, and that would be the main difference. Okay, so that's just something to note. But when we get to learning unit 6, we're going to focus more on your periodic inventory systems. So for now, we're just focusing on the perpetual one so that you get the hang of it. Then on the 13th, we said trading inventory was purchased for 37,154 rands and 24 cents, but then our supplier actually gave us a 10% trade discount. So you can tell me what is the amount that will be included in our bank account. You can do your calculation in the chat function. So if I bought inventory that's worth 37,154 rand, but I get a discount of 10%. How much did I actually pay for that inventory? Okay, so I'm just going to repeat that. If I buy inventory worth 37,000 and I get a 10% trade discount, what did I actually pay for that inventory? Okay, so Tamela says we take that 37,000, which they've given us, we multiply it with 90 over 100. Now, how she got to the 90 is because we got 10% discount, we are deducting that 10% from the 100, which gives you 90. So you could have also written it, instead of a 90 here, you could have said it's 100 less 10, which is 90, then over 100, which gives you that 33,438 Rand. Okay, so that's how you work out that amount. Now, once you've worked out that amount, we do exactly the process we did here. Same thing we do for that transaction. So this one, to work out what your physical payment was the difficult thing. Now, what a lot of students tend to do when they don't read properly in a test, they forget to apply the discount, or the question would already say the amount is after the discount has been included, and then they will go put discount on amount that has already included discount. So you need to read carefully whether it's an amount before or after the trade discount has been taken into account. Then on the 14th, we've got a cash purchase of pens, which goes to pay postage and stationery. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you think we can claim VAT on postage and stationery? Yes or no? Do you think if you buy, okay, so we've got a yes and a no. Okay, so if you buy stationery, generally at the shop, because it's a normal supply, it's not one of the items that is either on your zero rated or exempt list, you would have paid VAT for that amount. So for that one, yes, we do include the VAT. Okay, now the reason this one is inclusive of VAT. I know generally stationery is given to all the employees. You might think it is seen as staff entertainment, but it's not. Because you use those pens for business, it is a valid business expense, so you are allowed to claim the input VAT. If you, for example, bought everyone a nice expensive pen, which is seen as a gift, which is then something different, then you would generally not be allowed to claim it. But for your questions, they generally see it as for business purposes. So you use it in the business. Okay. Then on the 18th, that is where we purchased our PlayStation 3, okay, which goes to computer equipment. Now, do you think we are allowed to claim input VAT if a PlayStation is used for staff entertainment? Okay, so the answer in this case is no. Do you think, for example, if it was a gaming company where they actually test out games to see and then rate games, do you think they would be able to claim, for example, the input VAT on a PlayStation? Okay, so Bernice says yes. So remember, you have to look at what type of business we're busy with. So in this case, you're all correct. No, we're not allowed to claim input VAT because of the fact that it is for staff entertainment. But if my business, on the other hand, our business model is to play games and to test out games, then it is for my business, then I would be able to claim it because it's not for staff entertainment, it's actually for work. Okay, then on the 20th, now this is where it gets a bit hairy for some students to work out how much have we actually paid. So let's quickly look at what information they give us. They tell us settlement of account of Devon traders less 5% settlement discount. Okay, so what that first sentence tells you is once you've settled the account in full, you get a 5% discount on that account. Okay, but now we need to know what is the balance at that specific date. So the balance owing at the beginning of the month is 6,374 Rand. So that's what we owe in the beginning of the month. Then we've purchased stock of 27,715 Rand. So that's the purchases during the month. And then of those purchases, we've returned 2,771 Rand. Now, who can tell me what is the balance at the end of the month that we owe? So that's the first step. So you can just put in the chat function, how do you work out the balance? And then the second step is to show me, taking that balance, how much did we actually pay at the end of the day after we received the discount? Okay, so how did you guys work out the balance that we are owing for Devon traders at the end of April? Okay, do I have any takers? Who can tell me how do you work out how much money we owe Devon traders at the end of April? What amounts do you need to add or subtract to get to that balance? Anyone? How do we work out that balance? Okay, if you're not sure, maybe just put there that a question mark if you don't know. I just want to see you guys are still alive because okay, so Bernice is not sure. What about the rest of you guys? Okay, so tomato things. Okay, so most of you are unsure. So tomato said, okay, so you used the 6,374. I'm assuming you add, and it's not equal, the 27,000 and you subtracted 2,000 to get to 31,000. Okay, so how we work it out is we take the opening balance. So how much money did we owe that person in the beginning of the month? We add what we've purchased, and then we subtract what we've returned. Okay, so when we return goods, it's like me going to Pick and Pay. I've bought clothing, and when I get home, I realize, but the shirts or the pants don't fit me properly, so I take it back. Okay, so a return is when you take goods back, so I don't physically have them on hand, and then I deduct it from that balance to get to the balance. So to Melo, the way you calculated it is perfect. But then we get a settlement. So we get a 5% discount. And that is why I've got a 95% there. It's 100% less. The 5% will give me 95% to get to how much money I've actually paid. Okay. And then because it's a payment of an account, we only take it to the creditor's control. It doesn't go anywhere else because it's physical cash that we've received. Okay, so I'm just quickly going to, before we break, just highlight the few things you had to see from the rest of the question. Okay, so the rest of the things in this question is pretty straightforward. So let's just look at the solution so that you guys have it. What you had to see is the bank amount. Okay, so remember bank is inclusive of VAT, but to work out the input VAT is your bank amount multiplied with 15 over 115. That is the same for all of these items in that column. Okay, now the first thing is we take it to petty cash because we took out the money physically out of the bank. And what we said is when I take money out of the bank, there's no VAT because it's physical cash. Then a payment to a supplier has no VAT implication because it's also cash exchanging hands. So it's cash from the one person to another one. Then I've just shown you how to get to that 33,000 again that we've discussed. That PlayStation, just to highlight, it's staff entertainment, and for that reason, the VAT input is non-allowable deduction. So that is why it's 0. And then Devon Traders, I've just included the calculation again. How do you get to it? And then drawings is when I take something from a business. Remember, you're not allowed to claim the input VAT when I take something out of the business. You have to pay the VAT as well. So you're not allowed to get it back. And then office refreshments is also seen as staff entertainment, which is also non-VAT deductible, and salaries and wages are exempt from VAT. So there's no VAT on it because we pay as you earn on it. Okay, so before we break, do you guys have any questions on question 4.12? If you've got a question, you can just type it in the chat function. If you are fine with this, you can just give me a thumbs up. So I just know if there's any questions on this. Are you guys okay with cash book payment journal? Okay, great. So we're going to break now. If you can be back in 10 minutes, so that would be 9:07, then we will continue with the session.